Like this class is black and this class is white. And she said the reason why she did it is because she didn't want the white kids to feel uncomfortable. They wound up firing her and get rid of her, but she was a highly decorated principal that was awarded different awards, principal of the year. And this is not something that she just thought about one day. This is the mindset of individuals that's in position of power.
Right.
She was just foolish enough to get caught.
Wow. My man Big L dropped a comment and he said the white man not gonna save us. Blacks have to save black. We have black-owned stores in every city, but we try to save a few cents. And Walmart support us first. Yeah. That I mean that resonates, man. That's you know when it comes to our communities, we have some people who do support truly will go into our communities and support black owned black schools, send our kids black education. Actually, I'm a product of an HBCU. I went to Morehouse.
Okay.
But like you said, when it comes to my education, I didn't even work in my major. So I'm sitting here thinking like, I had already had that same exact sentiment like you. I actually worked in IT. So just like you said, I went and got an IT job. I didn't get any certifications or anything. I just worked my way up through IT. But I didn't have any IT education. But just like you said, I've worked with a lot of people who didn't go to school, who just got into IT and consultants and everything else. You know what I'm saying? You can go get a certification or a course, but you don't have to go spend thousands of dollars at a school, because you can go get the IT and work for yourself and make, six figures plus and become your own entrepreneur in IT. So I do totally agree with that. Doing mobile apps, doing your own websites, doing a variety of different things. That resonated with me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my life. Mm-hmm. But I did spend $40,000 on Morehouse for the experience, for the socialism. Like what? Wow.
And another thing what I tell people is that we can't be afraid. We have to be fearless. Education and learning is about being fearless. And I'm not a religious person, but I read the Bible, I study the Quran, and in the Bible, the word afraid is written, the word don't be afraid is written 365 times. So that's a daily reminder from God or whoever your spiritual being is to live every day fearlessly. And that's what we have to do as a people. We are the holders and keepers of ourselves and our predicament, and it's up to us to take responsibility. And when you look at the word responsibility, it only means to respond to your ability. So we have to look for the innate ability that exists within us. We have to bring it out, because we all have talent, but some of us allow it to remain dormant more than others. We have to bring it out. And brothers such as myself and individuals such as you two are doing that just by us on the virtue the fact that we are dispersing this knowledge and trying to wake our people up. That's a responsibility. And
right.
What I do tell people is that if you do decide to go to college and you get this, education, whether it's an HBCU or it's an Ivy League school, what you have to do is you have to come back to the community. You have to take those skill sets, you have to take that knowledge, and you have to build your community up. Because if you get this information and you got a good job and you're not doing nothing for your community, then you're a co-conspirator in your own people's demise. Because we're only ones that's going to help ourselves. It's not going to be legislation from Congress. It ain't going to come from no politician. It's going to have to be the community.
Wow. Wow, that's deep, man. That's very deep. And to address the last thing you said before this, I actually saw I think it was a motivational video today, and it spoke about just taking that step, that motivational step. And it said that a lot of times we're built to our bodies and our mindset is that if something's uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying, our protection, our body goes into a protected mode where we have fear, like, oh, that ain't comfortable, so I ain't gonna do that, you know what I'm saying? But you have to actually, it's like enhancing that skill, that innate skill, to take it past that level and to go into an unknown or into a ground where you're able to, you know what I'm saying, capitalize into unknown ground where you're operating on fear. But that's where the best stuff is birthed out of, when you go out and, you know what I'm saying, you're in that uncomfortable zone and you basically work on that destiny and that purpose and that drive that you know you have set forth for yourself. And the best thing when it comes to that is actually if you do reach that level, like you said, reach back to your brethren, you know what I'm saying, and give back. The greatest rewards is to actually receive something back from, you know what I'm saying, what you did.
Absolutely.
Brother. Wonderful, man.
Yeah, so that's the message that I go around the country whenever I'm speaking. I try to let these young kids know, especially in the school, because students, they make up 20% of the population of the entire world.
Right.
With 100% of the future. So that's who we have to start with. We have to start with young, and we got to be social justice warriors, because if we don't fight for them, then nobody else can. So that's why, I did elementary genocide. I wanted to bring the spotlight to what was going on, that when we look at statistics, they're looking at the 3rd and 4th grade reading level to determine how many prisons they're going to build in the next 10 to 15 years. And they look at these numbers because they know that if you're not reading on grade level, that there's a 75% chance that you're going to end up in jail. So when we know that there's a systematic plan like that, we got to strategically plan. And what we have to do is we have to go behind closed doors, and come up with a strategy and how we're going to dismantle this system. And, that was one of the reasons why I did that documentary. And 2, for the Board of Education versus the Board of Incarceration.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that in the 1800s, where in the state of Massachusetts, they had what was called compulsory schooling. And every city in Massachusetts conceded to it, except a little small city right off the coast of, it was about 30 miles off the coast of Cape Cod.
Right.
And armed militias went in and made them march them to school with guns. The kids, they made them all, it was the law, you had to send all your kids to school. And we're talking about the 1800s. So this is the origin of education as we know it in the United States. And the reason why is because they needed a labor class. They needed to indoctrinate people. They didn't want people to be free thinkers, so they forced you to send your kids to school. So we have to know, education ain't bad. We all want to be educated, but it's the education that we receive that we have to be mindful of.
Right. Now, I have your second clip here. I'm gonna play a couple minutes of that right there, and then we'll come back and drop it. I'm gonna play this right now, and then we'll come back and continue talking on it. All right.
The Board of Education versus the Board of Incarceration.
The Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision of May 17, 1954, was a watershed moment in the history of the Black civil rights movement in this country. But it also did more harm than good.
First of all, we have to define the word education. In the 1968 speech done by H. Rep. Brown called The Politics of Education, he said that black people in America are not educated, but they are trained.
The worst thing that it did was to destroy our own independent black institutions.
So even though it brought black children into white schools, it did not bring a representative amount of black teachers into the white public schools.
Proposition held by Brown v. Board of Education was that there had to be equal treatment under the law in terms of education. Those who did not want to give up white skin privilege, still harbored racist notions, began to agitate different types of education.
So if you don't change the mindset of the teachers, if you don't change the mindset of the system, then Brown versus Board of Education does more harm than good.
I would argue that there's no difference between the black codes of Reconstruction and the educational and legal policy of the United States public schools, as well as the criminal and justice system.
Because of the fact that if you fail, it's a good chance you're going into the prison system. So you're going to serve and you're going to build this country through that type of servitude. If you pass and you got good grades and you go out and you get a master's degree and you go work in corporate America, you're still going to build a society.
The schools fail on purpose because they have to guarantee that black folk remain the economic and political and social underclass of America. And in order to do that, you have to make sure black children are not given a winning chance in America's public schools. Schools are designed to fail black children to prevent a radical shifting of the power alignment in American society.
The whole purpose of education is to facilitate racism, is to make sure that African people do not know who we are and how to function as economic entities in this society.
Education is indoctrination if you're white, subjugation if you're black. So that means that we are subjugated by education, meaning that it's used to conquer us, it's used to control us. So when I think about the school to prison pipeline, I think about an institution that is strategically designed not only to give me dishumanizing messages, but also to send me to prison.
The sad thing about it is everyone knows that if you miseducate a child, you create a criminal by virtue of the miseducation. The average reading level of an African American male inmate in the United States of America is the 3rd grade.
There's plenty of money being invested, but it's invested in their demise. The United States was built off of slavery. It was built off of capitalism. So it's only right that they continue that system. In order to continue that system, they got to make sure that that there are folks to fill those beds. They got to make sure that there are inmates.
I was sitting in a restaurant during my 2008 Green Party Power to the People campaign, and a van pulled up and a group of young men got out and they were reporting to work. Those young men were prisoners, but they were reporting to work at a corporation, providing free labor to a corporation.
Black people in this country constitute a labor force that has evolved and developed out of a system of first chattel slavery and then Jim Crow segregation. And as far as the white supremacist system that we're living under is concerned, we are expendable. And the only way to make a profit off of our existence is through prison.
We're not playing race card.
All right, we're back. Yeah, so those are some clips from Elementary Genocide 2, Board of Education versus the Board of Incarceration. And that was deep, man. And do you speak on the privatization of the prison system now, like the private corporations owning that?
Absolutely. We went in depth with that in part 1. We talked about CA, which is Correction Corporation of America, and GEO, and how they sent out a memorandum to every state And pretty much what they told them is that if you allow us to